Our next topic is how to deal with a home inspection. Home inspections can be very traumatic for a buyer these days. I'm not sure when you've bought your home, but I've been doing this long enough that I was in the business before home inspectors were licensed. Those were the days of, an inspector would come and they just take a quick peek at it and say the house has good bones. Unfortunately, things have sort of swung the other way now. So these days, a home inspection can be extremely traumatic for a buyer, especially first-time home buyers. They might get a report that's between 50 and 100 pages with photos of everything that's wrong with the house. And of course, you know your house is fine. You've been living there for years. So there's a couple of techniques to try and get past a home inspection with a buyer, and a lot of that has to do with experience. The first thing is when you're showing the home, you should make sure the buyer is aware of certain things. So for example, if you've got a 20-year-old boiler and the boiler is working great, and we know that boiler is going to last another 20, 30 years, believe it or not, that home inspector is probably going to recommend that they replace that boiler. So when you've shown the home, if you've let the buyer know that the boiler is working and it's been serviced and it's working in great condition, then that can mitigate that request of a buyer saying, hey, I need an $8,000 boiler because my home inspector told me to. Also, our construction experience can be very helpful as well. Growing up in a construction household and earning my builder's license, home inspectors are generalists. They know a lot about a house in general, but not specifics of any one system. So a lot of times they can honestly be mistaken or have a different take on things. They might suggest that there has to be handrails on an area where it doesn't need it, those types of things. And so if you know how to counter a home inspector that's overreached, that can be useful as well. If there are valid items that come up at an inspection, our experience can help a seller to get through it with a minimum of discomfort or cost. So for example, heating system, there's a furnace and they say it's old and should be replaced and they want $6,000 for it. Well, maybe we get out of it, say, nope, it was just serviced for $150 and we've got the paperwork that said that it was okay. So the goal is the listing agent and the seller is to keep a deal together and not give any concessions that don't need to be given to a buyer, and ultimately, at the end of the day, still end up with the best price and terms for you, the seller.